welcome back to my channel. I'm Emerald the Quilter, and today we're making a scrappy version of the fortune cookie quilt in the Perfect 5 Quilts book by It's So Emma. It's a 4 charm pack quilt pattern, and I'm using a mix of charm squares that I have that are already loose, and I've got my charm pack basket right here. In this basket, I have brand new unopened charm packs, and then like here, I also have just a ton of loose charm squares that I've used in other projects, and I'm ready to put them to use. If you don't have enough, and I anticipate that I don't have enough just by looking at the loose ones here in my basket, I went ahead and I just cut out a lot. I didn't count them. I will use them for something else, even if I don't use them all in this project. And I also cut out some backgrounds as well. So what you will need is the book to find the cutting instructions. You will also need 4 charm packs, or you can cut out your own. And this is purely optional, but I'm using half square triangle paper. So let's get started. In my charm pack basket, this entire section right here is all loose charms, and it's quite a bit. I'm really excited to use up and make space for more charm packs. Oh, and then these I won at a retreat playing left, right, center. If you don't know what that is, let me know in the comments below, because it is the best game you could ever play at a retreat. And I'm just going to start sorting them between darks and lights. I'm going to need a total of 144 colored charm squares. And I am not going to count all of that in front of you, but I am going to just separate some of these whites because I want you to see how I genuinely have a mix of all kinds of things. And I don't know if this one will work in anything. Maybe it would have to go with something that is super, super white, so that there is more contrast. And you're going to need from your, if you're using these solid charm squares from charm packs, then you will need 180 of those solids. But if you're just going to do what I do, you know, yardage or scrap fabric, what I did was I just pulled out scrap fabric from my fabric bins behind me, and that was enough, or I'm hoping it is enough for me to get everything that I need for this pattern. And I tend to keep these little cardboard pieces just because it helps everything stay nice and flat. And so here's just some background fabrics that I never used from previous quilts. And so it's exciting to take fabric that I used in these previous Perfect 5 quilts and use them into this one, because it just kind of tells a story. Because we started with 1 charm pack, and 2 charm packs, and then I did a scrappy quilt somewhere in there, and then this is, I did the 3 charm packs, and now we're on to quilts with 4 charm packs. That looks like background fabric, doesn't it? I think so. I think it is. See, look at that. Isn't this wonderful? So that's what I'm going to continue doing. I am not scared of, look at all this Christmas fabric. I made a Christmas quilt. I'm going to include it. You know, why not? It's a scrappy quilt, and honestly, the more fabric that you have, the more colorful it is. I think the better it is, the more scrappier it is. And so just, if there's any colors that you want to exclude, now is the time to look at all of that. But I am just going to include everything. Halloween, Christmas, whatever. See, look what I have here. These are handmade charm squares. Someone showed up at retreat and was like, let me make some really quick for this game. And nothing wrong with that. Look how pretty they are. Christmas lights. See? Batiks. Use it all. Use it all. And here are some background creams, whites, small motifs. This is to like make a book, like a quilted book. Those are the instructions to make the quilted book, and I cut that up. So use everything. And what I'm going to do, and this is optional, is take all of my pieces that I know I'm going to use. Like, let's start with this one. And then, you know, a seed. Those are seeds on there. And just layer them and then pin on both sides. You could just follow the instructions and draw a line horizontally and then sew alongside either line. Completely up to you, but this is the way I'm going to do it. And then we'll take this to the sewing machine. This whole stack here has been pinned. You can see that this is quite a lot, and would you believe it, even though I use so much of the loose charm squares and I mixed in just a variety of the charms that I had cut out, that I still have quite a bit. And that's good news because I can make another scrappy quilt later in this quilt along, and I did the same thing with these units. So these are the B units and these here are the E units. And you need quite a lot, and something that I found helpful as I was cutting was to make sure that I had an even amount of every color. So here I have like 2 pinks. Here I have 4 purples. Here I have 4 kinds of green. So keeping it an even number will help me replicate the look these blocks have. And I just want to kind of zoom in a little bit. So although these are like, that's brown and that's brown, and these are teal, 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 I could do one color here, a different color there, and then 4 different colors, all the while maintaining these 2 half square triangles the same. And so I think that's the take that I'm going with. It's completely up to you. If you wanted to, you know, follow the pattern exactly and make sure that it was, you know, like one entire block only had 2 colors, so then that means that you would have needed 4 of every single one, hence the 4 charm squares. So I'm just going to begin by picking 4 different, because like I said, you know, I am going to do this with all different colors, and I mixed up my prints. So I'm going to pick a gray, and I'm going to pick a few extras just so that I have some to play with. I definitely want the final look of this quilt to be fun and bright, and I sorted them as well. So just the way I sorted these here, I sorted, you know, like these. So now I have 3 grays right here. And so I'm going to grab one more gray, and then I'll place these other 2 grays aside because I don't need to mess around with any more grays. And look at my friend Lois got me. Isn't this so cute? I love this donkey. Ah, so adorable. I'm keeping my seam ripper in there, which I have had to use quite a bit recently on a project that I was making a bag for. I just could not get the binding on the inside attached because it was just so thick. I don't want to use these because these are kind of like a little weird right now. And gray, and it's, to me, gray is like an odd color, so that's enough. All right, so I'll use 2 aquas. And I'm using a 1.5 stitch because it makes it really easy to rip the paper out. I'm hoping that I did actually count enough. There are a lot of pieces to this quilt, but I find that I enjoy projects that have smaller pieces that are more challenging, because sometimes I get just really bored working with the same thing, same kind of look. And some yellow. Get a different yellow. This is a really nice yellow. It's a batik, and I like batiks, so I mean, I mixed everything in here. I've got Christmas, maybe like 1 or 2 prints that were from a Halloween line but don't look Halloween by themselves. I've got just a little bit of everything. And what was frustrating about cutting all of this, because this took me, I don't know, an hour, just these B and E units here. What was frustrating was the backgrounds. And this must be true for everybody. I don't have a whole lot of backgrounds, so you're gonna notice that, yes, I have a nice variety of colored prints in this quilt, but not so much I just want to pick a different red. Not so much the backgrounds. And it's crazy. It's like, how is it that I have an overfilled container of whites and nothing is the right size and they're all the same and they don't go? I have a lot of prints that are on white or cream or beige, and they just have so much going on that is in some kind of color that it doesn't work. And then a lot of pieces are, you know, they're too small or they're too skinny. And I did not cut any yardage for this quilt. I did not even cut a fat quarter, nothing. This is purely loose charm squares and genuine scraps for my scrap bin. But boy, oh boy, it would be nice. And I know that some designers do. They sell, they do sell collections with just like background fabrics, like Hush Hush by Riley Blake, and I think there's already a Hush Hush too. Those are kind of new. Those are all great. But because when I'm making a quilt, usually I want the background to be the same. So I end up buying yardage. And then when it's time for me to make a scrappy quilt, I don't have enough scrappy backgrounds. So, and it's because that I'm always using yardage. It's frustrating. And then when I'm like in the store, I'm like, ooh, I should get that. And it's a bundle of nothing but background fabrics. I'm like, oh, I'd rather get something colorful, or I'd rather get this other line, and then I end up not getting it. So it is a little frustrating. Oh, the things us quilters go through, right? Self-inflicted pain is what it is. And something else that I've realized is that I don't really own as many pins as I would like. And I use just about 2 packs of pins for these half square triangles. And I realized that I can get away with just pinning on one side, because if you hold it in place and you stitch along the opposite end that has the pin, it's no big problem. That stitch holds it in place, and then when it's time for me to, bring these around, I can just take this pin and pin him to the donkey. Just right on his butt. So cute. Anyways, so I'm just trying to get a few of all the different colors here. I think I might have gotten enough. Let me bring these back now. Okay, so now that I have these, this is enough to make more than 2-3 blocks. See, this is the stack. I'm going to now take some of these, and what you want to do is, like, get 4 pinks, because each of these is going to, like this, is going to make 1 4 patch. And if you're going to follow along by keeping the overall color the same, they can be 4 different kinds of pinks, right? So I just want to get a mix, and I want to blend these with these backgrounds, making sure that I do my best to keep everything different, and it gives it that ultimate scrappy look. You'll notice that some of these are like not even cut to the right length. They are the right width, but like this. And that's because there is an opportunity to trim down after this. And I'm just making sure that I pick different, different colors, and just mixing them all up. It'll give the illusion a little bit better that nothing is repeated. Of course, it won't be so, it'll be way more noticeable with the larger blocks that prints are repeated, but with the smaller ones, it's helpful too. To just mix them up. Be intentional about it, guys. Okay, let's do these blues. See, like, that is way longer than what it needs to be, but it's okay. It is okay. That probably won't look good. This will look good though. Let me get the rainbow. And so some things that I've been working on behind the scenes since the last video was catching up on my long arming. So I long armed 2 very small projects for work, and I got to get those back to the owners. And then I finished a charity quilt for my local guild, and I hope you, if you're close by or even if you're not, I shared that information in the last video, that you at least join in Zoom. We get some really great speakers. Let's do this little arrow right here. Okay, so I did 4 of those. Let's do color I haven't done. I don't think I've done yellow. And I don't think I've done purple. Let's do some purple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, maybe I did do purple. I don't know, but I want to do purple. So here is the purple. So one speaker I am looking forward to is, what's it called? Scrapmore, Quilting Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. Ooh, that one is coming up, and she has an awesome YouTube channel, and she actually referred a bunch of viewers, and I was like, oh, that's so exciting, and that's so nice. But she has some really great videos, and some really famous blocks, like the potato chip. Like when I go on retreat, I oftentimes will see that block. And then we have the Scrap Bandit coming. Just really amazing quilters join us for our daytime and evening meetings. So check it out. It's at Quilt Guild of Greater Houston. And then just one more purple, and I think that will, you know, be enough. And you can see that I'm just, you know, pulling from here and there. Ultimately, my goal is to, you know, because there is another one of these. You see I have 2, and that's the case for just about every piece that you see in here, the way that I cut it up. And I think there's some instances where there's more. And ultimately, I don't want to like grab the same print and give it the exact same background like this. That would be really noticeable. So I'm gonna try to avoid that, be mindful as I'm quilting. Oh, and had the funniest conversation with my dad recently. He was like, Emerald, okay, so I'm confused. You said you were quilting, but you also said you were quilting when you were doing this other thing, and I don't know what you're saying. It's like, okay. So, and he was like, so why is it that, oh, and look, I ran out of thread just now. And he asked me, why is it that when, on the labels at the quilt show, the names are quilter, maker, and quilter. And I was explaining to him that the maker refers to the person who pieced the quilt together. They made the quilt. And the quilter refers to the person that sandwiched it and did all those stitches on the top. And he's like, oh, but what about like when I talk to you on the phone and you say you're quilting, what part of all of that are you doing? And it's like, well, it's everything. So I sew the little pieces together. I can call that quilting, and a lot of people do. You're sewing, you're making, you're piecing, you're stitching, however you want to call it. And then you can say sandwiching, long arming, quilting, you know, and that's for that next part where you're just adding the layers together. And then there's the binding. So it's just kind of funny. There's these terms that a lot of people don't understand and can be used, you know, they're multi-meaning words, so they can be used interchangeably. And so when I talk to my dad on the phone, oftentimes he asks me to clarify like exactly what I'm doing, which is nice because it shows that he's paying attention and that he cares. Boy, do I love this sewing machine. I've never had an easier time winding a bobbin. I've had a needle threader before, but this one is just a lot more sturdier. Okay. So I've got to go back over this piece and a half. And I accidentally left a really small stitch on there and bump it up to 1.85. Which, I mean, it's okay. It just means that if I make a mistake, it's going to be a pain to get out. All right. So I've definitely have enough here to work with and make something really cute. I'm going to move these out of the way and get a blank one. Now well, I guess regardless, if you use half square triangle paper, you are going to have to cut out all these triangles, but you'd be cutting anyways. And you are also going to iron these flat. So each piece you'll press or iron, up to you. I might just press to the dark, and then we'll cut them in half, okay? Just like that. And once you're done that, oh look, and then this piece is backwards, but I don't think anyone is going to notice. What do you think? It's so hard to see, I can't even get the camera to focus. See those little white dots? It's going to stay because, you know, no one's going to notice. I barely do. Press all of them to the dark. This one didn't even stitch at all. And then cut these down here, all around, and then rip your paper off. Cut off your edges, and then we'll come back. These half square triangles are ready, and I wanted to show you something that you need to be careful of as you are sewing all your pieces together. This is the little stack of unpressed 4 patches. When I finished with these grays, I noticed a big boo-boo. So do you see it? Yeah, it's gray, but then look at this print. It's the same design on both the dark and the light fabric. And so I would not be able to use these two in one block. It wouldn't really look well, in my opinion. And when it's your quilt, your opinion is the only one that matters. So do what makes you happy. But thankfully, I know that I've prepared some other grays, and so I'll use this one with a different gray and this one with a different gray. So just be mindful as you are preparing which colors are going to go together. And I really liked these yellows. So I'm just going to, oh, and then I have this stack here. And they're all different. I don't think I have any repeats. There's like one. You're going to need, these are the D units, and you're going to need 36 of these. It's probably best that if you do repeat that they're far away from each other so that you get that nice scrappy look. To assemble the block, you'll lay almost like on point your colors facing each other, and they generate 2 parallel lines right here. And then pick, I really liked, as I was pressing these open, these purple colors. And with this monkey, he's so cute. With your lights in between. This doesn't really look so good because that is like, that looks good. The dots in these, they look like rice. It's just too similar. Right here and right here. Okay. And you can play around with your blocks, make them the way you like them. If we add the aqua just to see what it will look like, it completely changes the look of the block. And that looks really pretty with the different purples. Does not look good with this one, but oh look, there's some more bees. That looks better. You see, so every block, when you follow this way that I've selected fabrics, will look different. Now we get to the fun part. We will assemble the block, pinning, and if you need to pin, sewing here, 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 and then sewing your rows together. Definitely pin in these intersections. This quilt block is adorable. I absolutely love the 4 patches. Everything is facing the right way, and it's just scrappy enough. You know, it's not too crazy. You will need 3 yards for sashing and borders. I am still undecided on if they're all going to be different. I know I have lots of thinner pieces of scraps that I could use, but like a cute polka dot might be really cute. I don't know. I'm just going to have to play around. So this is 1 of 36. I have to make 35 more. And before you go, I wanted to show you those 2 quilts. So you may remember, or if not, I work in education. And so these are 2 projects from Little Ones, and they made it. All I did was add the tulle, which you can barely see, but you can hear it, and then I long-armed it. It's going into a showcase, and I'm so proud of them. This is supposed to be a scene with Alexander Burr and George Washington, maybe? I don't remember. Research was involved on their part. And then this is, I think those are supposed to be 2 of the founding fathers, and they're holding documents. Here's that charity quilt. And swirls. I quilted swirls on this. I love swirls. So I've just been having fun working on other projects. And oh, speaking of swirls, I've got a scrappy quilt on the long arm. I'll show it to you. This is the Scrappy September quilt that I made like maybe 2.5 years ago. And I was so excited because at the time there was a competition, friendly competition on Instagram at the Fat Quarter Shop, and I actually won their $25 gift card. I was so excited. I immediately spent it. I don't even remember on what, but it's been so long, and I have last year's Scrappy September, and so, okay, well, you know, September is coming up, I know, in like 6 months from now-ish, and so I just don't want 3 years piled up of Scrappy September quilts. So it's on the long arm. I'm like 1/3 of the way done. Let's see if you can see a little bit of that design. My go-to is always swirls. I love swirls. Swirls make me happy. They look good on just about everything. And this fabric here, I think this is for clothing. It's apparel fabric. It's definitely not cotton, I can tell you that. But the color, it's got like that denim look, and it just looks so good. And you know, Scrappy really does make me happy. This is a pattern from Scrappiness is Happiness by Lori Holt. So I'll put a link in the description box below. I've seen this quilt made with white background and like also a dark navy, but it really looked good in this color. So there you have it. Lots of fun things are going on around here. Remember to get your 3 yards of fabric and comment below if you think I should go scrappy on the borders and sashing or all one kind of fabric. Here is the fortune cookie block one more time. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and have fun quilting. Bye!